it's Laura. I'm mostly crafty here on YouTube and Instagram. Today is Tuesday, August 18th. This is Flosstube 16, and wow, do we have a lot to get through. I had to write everything out in my little notebook. I have some Stitchy kindness to talk about, some thrifting, finishes, the state fair, progress, plans, the results of my giveaway, and then my crow stitch along, as well as what I've been reading, watching, and listening. So I have a lot to go through. Let's get started. Let's start with Stitchy kindness. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I went down to Oregon to see my best friend Amber and her kids and her husband, my other best friend William. And she had a lot of Stitchy kindness to pass on to me. First, she went to an estate sale, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And we only see each other every 4 to 6 months in person. But she went to this big estate sale and got a lot of really good things. And she found this Stitch-a-mug for me, which is this cross-stitch plastic mug, which I assume the top comes off somehow. And then there's like 8 inside that you can stitch like a band sampler or a drum on. This originally retailed for $6.50. I don't see, is there a year on it? No. You're down here. Made in the USA, patent pending. So anyway, I'm very excited to pick out some sort of band sampler or drum pattern for that. There's so many options. I don't know what I want to stitch. It's kind of got a green top, so that might inform it. I know it pops off. There we go. Okay, so yeah, it's just some. Oh, this is vinyl. Oh, I guess so. It probably doesn't forget the voice. Oh, and there's an alphabet on the inside, so you could stitch a name or something. Interesting. Okay, so we've got that to stitch eventually. Very excited about that. Thank you, Amber. And then Amber had also gotten me a couple of books. I think the other one is over here. That's not going on. Christmas cross stitch, just cute little girl on the front. Cross stitch gifts. And then I don't know if this was all from Amber or what, but her friend's grandmother isn't able to stitch anymore and wanted her stash to be passed on. So Amber's friend said, I know a girl. She did know a girl. So I got this lovely box, which is like a shoebox or something that has been covered in paper, which is very chic. In it are a couple of like half-started projects. This bear is in this book, a bear book by Gordon Fraser, so designs by Gloria and Pat. So it's got a little teddy bear. So I think I could, she's even got the DMC pinned to it. That's so smart. So she knew what color. 666, a classic. So there might be a dye lot issue, but we'll see. I think most of the red is done. I think it's just other things. So could keep working on that. And then, I'm not quite sure what that is. Something holiday. Oh, it kind of looks like a squirrel. I bet it's a squirrel. So a lot of those things. And then a bunch of other pattern books. And what's funny about this one, this is Christmas in Miniature, again, designs by Gloria and Pat, book 5, is that I have ornaments that my mom stitched from this pattern book. So my mom originally stitched, you can see like this Santa, and then these little girls up here. I don't know if it'll up here. My mom originally stitched those ornaments for me, and I have all of those in my Christmas stuff, which is of course put away. But they're also stitched in here. So there were some little finishes, a poinsettia. And then this is what my mom, I have this one, but the dog looks like my dog, Tassie, from when I'm little, so a black and white dog. Yeah, I am really excited to have this because this pattern book is not in my mom's old stash that I took. So I'm very excited about that. And then there's some other For the Love of Cross Stitch magazines. Some other little smalls patterns, mini plaids and monograms. So just a bunch of great patterns in here. Oh, I think this Christmas critter is this squirrel in there from the Persian cat in New Orleans. And then some like little kits. And then the DMC from the squirrel and then the teddy bear. So it looks like I've got everything in this in the original colors. So I don't have to worry about a pattern or a dialogue change. So I'm very excited. Thank you. I think it's Kristen's grandmother. That was very sweet of you to think of me. I'm very excited to have more for my stash. You saw me knock my phone over. No, you didn't. That didn't happen. All right, Amber also found some hoops at Goodwill. I love this neon pink one. I was stitching with this outside the other day, and a bumblebee kept coming up to me in my project because I think he thought it was a flower. But those are great. So have some new some hoops there to play around with. Very excited about that. And then I did some thrifting. Friday night, Saturday, I was up in Monroe and did some thrifting. Monroe is a town up in Washington, and that's where the state fair is. And so I was dropping off my state fair pieces, which I'll talk about in a moment. Oh, there's a weird shadow now that wasn't there when I started. Anyway, I went to the Goodwill in Monroe, and on the craft shelf, they had a ton of patterns and magazines. So some cross stitcher, just cross stitch, patterns, baby bibs, log cabin nights, just a ton of things. And there's no price. And so I went to a guy and said, hey, are these like magazines? Are they like, there's no magazine price, but how would you price these? Are they soft cover books, which are $3 a piece, which is highway robbery? And he goes, ugh, I want those gone. I've been trying to get rid of those. He's like, how about I make you an offer? And I was like, yes, let's do a bundle. And he said $5. And I was like, sold. So I'll go through these real quick. I'm excited about this one. The Prairie Schooler Designer Series, which is some fingertip towels. Maybe that would be good for my mug. I do have a lot of fingertip towel patterns in my stash. And these are in no particular order. May, June 1987, Just Cross Stitch magazine. I love this sampler on the front. Once again, if there's anything in here that really calls to you, let me know. I can ship it to you. Otherwise, I will probably take a lot of these to Pinwist because there's some duplicates in here and some that are definitely not my style. But I'm going to Pinwist on Labor Day weekend with two gals that I met through Flosstube. Hopefully we are all at the same table. But I can either just mail you if some of these call to you. The Cross Stitcher, Volume 5, Number 1, Country Sampler. This magazine was a little bit weirder. When life gives you lemons, make lemon pie. Sure, that's not the saying. Anyway, there's some God's gift type stuff. So probably not for me. Probably to go to the some cute little Christmas frames, pastel baby bibs. Probably go to Pinwist. This I thought this would be really cool. It's a calendar. And every day there's a proverb. it was a little bit more, this is the day that the Lord has made than I am a part of. So that might go to Penwis. Needle Love Company, Log Cabin Nights, a collection of cross stitch favorites with this chunky baby slash baby doll. Mini motif borders. If you're doing your own like spot sampler, that would be really cute. This one I'm keeping. This is Berry Designs and Borders, and there's some really cute strawberry things in here. You know, I love a strawberry. Easy cross stitch folded star ornaments, which is like a combo, like fabric quilted star plus like a little motif in the middle. Timeless Treasures. And then I have at least one copy of this, if not two. This is the March April 88 cross stitch Country Crafts magazine, which is my favorite. This is the March April 89 cross stitch Country Crafts. Again, some of these are duplicates. September October 89. She bought these retail because there's a green bow sticker on them. There's not an address sticker. All around corners and borders. Borderline Express. Little fingertip towels. There are actually two of those in there, so those will go to hand towels. Borders, borders, borders. That's what it's called. And then Dale Burdett, Hopscotch to the Country, also from Greenbow. So if any of those call to you, let me know. Otherwise, those go in my stash / Penwis. And then I got these little gals, these little willow tree ornaments gals. Last year, Bennett and I painted them to look like witches, so I'm going to do that again. This gal has a shell. She's also kind of purple. She might be fake. She was $3. And then these two gals both had broken hands, and I was at the Goodwill, and I was like, oh, these are broken. And she was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, that's okay. I still want them. What are you giving to me for? And she said, $2 a piece. And I was like, sold. I'm going to paint them and destroy them anyway. So that is an upcoming Halloween craft. And then, other, let's see, where's my notebook? There's my notebook. So that was my stitching kindness, and so that was my stitchy kindness. Also some other kindness from William, her husband, my friend, got me this Aperol belt bag with some goodies in it. I love an Aperol spritz, you know I do. So I am very excited for that. Very, very excited. And then, yeah, we spent the weekend crafting, which I'll show, I think, in my progress section. And then finishes. Let's get into the stitching. So I had one finish, but I do not have it. It's fully finished, but I took it to the state fair. So on Saturday, I drove 9 of my finishes out to the state fair and entered them into the Evergreen State Fair, which there's 2 state fairs in Washington. Why? Great question. Don't know. The Puyallup / Washington State Fair, and then the Evergreen State Fair, which I guess used to be the state fair, but is a little more country fair sized. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not from here. I'm from Indiana. We have one state fair. It's giant. But the if you watch the Thread Gremlins, last year, I think Elizabeth entered the Evergreen State Fair out in Monroe, and they do a Danish style, which means you're evaluated on your project, not necessarily against everyone else, but just against like a rubric, and kind of graded just looking at your project. And I thought for my first year, that might be interesting. So for the state fair, you have to have a wire hanger on the back. So I spent Friday night finishing all of my pieces and finishing my additional pieces. And when it came down to my finish was Little Liberty Sampler by Siren Stitchworks. I'll put a picture of the pattern here. I did 1,342 stitches in this. The total pattern is, I'll put the number on the screen. But the 1342 is the whole border. The border is suspiciously giant in comparison. It's a third of the project. So I guess the project's 4,300 stitches. Managed to, number one, get to the bottom of the border and it didn't line up. So I had to frog the bottom. And then also did not leave myself a margin, which I knew. I realized that when I was in Europe, I was in London at the airport, waiting to fly to Munich, and I realized that I forgot to include margin when I measured the fabric, and it was an offcut. So I was like, oh, this is definitely wide enough. The whole pattern is like 4 inches wide. JK. I did not include a margin, so I had to get real creative to finish it. And I live in a part of Seattle where we have some nice stores, but the only store where I could like buy something pre-made is Michael's, really, or Home Goods. So I went to Michael's. They didn't have any oops frames. I had one frame that I knew would work, but it was I would need like a mat or something. So anyway, I got creative and did sort of a flat fold / fabric back with what I could find at Michael's / my house. And so I framed every piece and then I drove them out to Monroe and entered them into the thing. So I have some clips here. It's a couple minutes long. I'll see if I can edit it to make it a little more snappy. Hi friends, it's Laura. I'm going to do a quick video of all of the things I'm taking to the state fair today. I spent hours yesterday framing and I only cut myself once and then gave myself a scratch once. The house is a disaster, that's why I'm filming on my desk. The first one, and sorry for some of these have glass in them. This is Strawberry Dreams by Carriage House Samplings. This is the gold frame I thrifted. We have to have the wire hangers on all of ours for the Evergreen State Fair. So I found a mat because, once again, running theme here, I did not leave myself enough margin. So there's that one. This is an older piece I did, same frame. I thrifted 2 of them at the same time. This one is also, I put some paper on the back. Black Work by Peppermint Purple. All right. This one is Victorian Haunt by the Witchy Stitcher. No glass on this one. Similar metal frame. Did not put paper on the back. I gotta trim some edges there. And double tighten up some screws here, I guess. Well, it's close enough. All right. This is Summer's Day by JEDxStitch. I stitched this last year with a custom color conversion. On this one, I bought craft paper and acid-free tape and then put the little screws in myself with the wire hanger so that it hangs up. Not my favorite frame for this. I didn't thrift it. I bought it at TJ Maxx yesterday. But again, I have to have the wire hangers and I broke 2 drill bits trying to put holes into this frame I got from TJ Maxx because I don't know, it's resin or something, question mark. I wanted to do this one. This is something Amsterdam by Ink Circles, but I don't have a hanger on the back and I was worried I wouldn't be able to get it in. This is just an IKEA frame. So I'll leave that one at home. Let's put this one down here. Okay. This one is Laura's Frisian Sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery. Also did the paper on the back of this one as well. I think that one looks really good. This one is probably the worst one. That does not look straight. Is that me? Do I have time to redo this? This is Nora Corbett, Winter Folly, and this is a frame. Once again, I did not leave enough margin on this at all. You can see like I've got plenty at the bottom, but like none at the top. That does not look straight. It's not my favorite frame for this either. This was holding a picture of my family on the wall, but it had the doodads, so I went with it. And then last, this is my latest finish. That doesn't look straight. That doesn't look straight either. Am I just not straight? I can't tell. I don't know. Okay. This is Little Liberty by Siren Stitchworks, and I really did not leave enough margin on this one because I forgot to include the margin when I grabbed the fabric to take to Europe. I was like, oh, it's totally wide enough. It is not. So I did a, this was a thrifted frame with this weird, like, it's arch thing. I don't know. It was like $5. Very nice frame for weird whatever was in there. And then I went to Michael's in a panic to get some fabric. And of course, the Michael's fabric department sucks. So I bought some like light blue and some cream, and I was like, oh, it's not really popping. And this is like a denim that I had left over from Joann's. When they closed, it's smocked at the top, and you know, it's like kind of one seam you can make a dress. So I just cut some off the bottom. And this is just little blue dot trim from Michael's. I think it looks fine. I did not have enough margin to stretch it to the whole frame. This is kind of a weird size. So like I would have had to buy a custom frame, and you know, my planning skills are poor. So I kind of did like a flat fold and then hot glued and masking taped it. I think it looks fine. It looks fine. I don't know. What do you think? Okay, those are my doodads. I'm gonna re-look at this one. Okay, we'll see. Bye. Is that better? Jesus. I'm not sure that that's any better, but it's what we have. You can see why people don't like borders. All right, well, wish me luck. All right, I am driving to Monroe, where the Evergreen State Fair fairgrounds are. It's about an hour, even though it's 23 miles as the crow flies. Let's go. Okay, we gotta walk down this alley to door H. Lots of things. I just dropped off my 9 items here at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds. Got my tickets to pick them up. I started at number 264 on the list. Oops, sorry. So I don't know how many people entered. That's for all of the needle art categories, including embroidery, needlepoint, all of that. So I had one black work, the Magickal Cross Stitch. She didn't seem too fussed about the wire hangers on the back, and I saw 2 other people drop off embroidery hoops for, I think, embroidery projects. So I probably could have brought my disco ball. Sorry, there's like some sort of, I don't know if it's a rally car or what happening out over there. So we'll find out in a couple weeks how it went. Bye. Little Liberty Sampler was my only finish, although I've had a start since the last time that I filmed. I'm calling this an oops new start. And the reason I'm calling it that is a couple reasons. I was reading threads a couple weeks ago, and they were talking, random people I don't know, strangers, were talking about like unhinged guest tables at weddings. And people saying like, oh, I put all the exes at one table, or I put the people who hate each other at one table. And someone said they did an oops all tall people table. I thought that is very funny. And it comes from when hockey leagues do an oops all goalies game, and it's just all goalies, but they play regular positions. I thought that is very funny. So this is an oops new start. So this is Witch's Plaque, or Witch Plaque, from the Magickal Cross Stitch book by Lindsay Swearingen. She is Tusk and Cardinal on the Instagrams. And this is 1,149 stitches. And it will say which. This is the ITCH and this is the W starting here. This is, look, I still have the sticker on the back. A 1/16 of a yard, 28 count shadow lugana fabric by Picture This Plus, 8 by 12 inches. I am not a Picture This Plus girly, but last year I bought just a bunch of fabrics to kind of try out. And this one was one of them. I definitely need my magnifier or my glasses to see this. And so I started in the middle, which is the T, so I can make sure I was in the middle of the fabric. I wouldn't have enough room for the W. And then there's like a border and some little doodads. So I am at 400 stitches out of 1,149. This is 35%. I'm basically doing one strand or like one length a day while I'm watching TV, which has been really fun. And you can make a lot of progress just by doing, 30 stitches a night into a smaller project. This is Weeks Dye Works beige, but it has this kind of like beigey green look to it. And I'm trying to variegate it. The H doesn't look like very variegated, but start at different places in the letters so I get kind of a mottled effect. I think it looks pretty great. So that's my new start. Besides that, I did not have a ton of stitching this month. I so far have done roughly like 3,400 stitches, including what I did before I filmed my last Flosstube, which was Witch's Road and Holiday House, which I found a major counting error in that night as I went to go work on it the last time. So that is a future Laura problem, if I've ever seen one. But I've been diligently trying to get some work in on Blueberry J. Don't mind the hoop. I'm not taking it out. I'm stitching on this a lot. I am having a really hard time seeing the fabric, which sucks. So I kind of have to do it in the daylight. But I have finished. I did the basket the last time. I did this little butterfly. The blue part, and then I started the blueberries this morning, right there. So this is on 32 count Dolomite by Fiber on a Whim. It's called for, using the called for DMC and Threadworks. I will say, I don't recall in Jessica's pattern, she always stitches on 40 count. It's by JEDxStitch. Did I say that? Of course it is. She always stitches on 40 count, so she probably never needs extra floss. But I bought one skein each of the called for Threadworks. It's like 11,585 or 785, and then the blue. But I've run out of the darker red color, the Threadworks over here. And I realized I would run out last winter, so I bought a second skein when I was down at Acorns and Threads in January, and I'm glad I did. I'm going to assume the dye lots are fine. It's variegated enough that you're not going to be able to tell. But you will need 2 of the 5-yard Threadwork skeins, or however long the short ones are, if you're stitching on 32 count, 2 over 2. So I am at 66%. I've done 821 stitches since the last time you saw me. I'm at 7,700 out of 11,659. So except for the Witch's Plaque, this is basically my closest to a finish. And I would love to have this done by the end of summer, September 21st. Is that going to happen? Can I get 4,000 stitches between now and then? Questionable. But I would really like to get this done. This was my Sunday project. And I'll do a little sneak peek of some of my other finishes or things that I'm working on. My Sunday project that I started in November, December, during the winter, where I would stitch on this every day it was sunny, and I got 40% done during the winter season, and I've only gotten 26% done since March. So I am not crushing it on this. Like I said, I'm having a hard time seeing the fabric without bright light, and it's kind of just a slog when I'm in the, like the fiddly bits up there, but I'm pushing through. All right. Next up is Summer Quaker. This is my other summer stitch I've been trying to work on, either this or Blueberry J, like every day. I've only done 220 stitches. I'm at 16%, so 4,600 out of 28,000. I have done these sails, and I finished the white of the sails last night. So all of this I've been working on in August. I think it looks great. This is 36.85. This is the called for DMC Summer Quaker by Lila Studio, and this is a mystery linen that is roughly 30 count that I thrifted. So still a lot to get done here, but making good progress. And this, I'm loving stitching on this. It's like a large count linen, easy to see, 2/2. I'm loving that. I'm loving that. I'm almost completely done with one page. I have just, it's back. What's left on this page 1, which is like here, is the brown, like 3 stitches of the mast, and then like a little floop, and then some like brown rigging. I want to get the white done first so I can stitch behind it. So then I'll be completely done with one page, and I'm like halfway done with another page. And then the last thing that I worked on, random floss, is Book Goddess by Tiny Modernist. This is on 32 count. I think it's Sapphire by Wichelt. Can never remember the color name. Doesn't really matter. This pattern has 15,431 stitches, and I am at 3,000, so I'm at 19%. I did 456, and I've also been trying to do a strand a day in this. And I've gotten all of this flower done in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, just by doing that. So my goal is to get all of the fiddly bits within the dress done soon so that I can continue with the blue variegated, which is a overdyed floss. I don't know where it is. Doesn't matter. It's blue. It's like Marina, something like that. Anyway, I lost it. I found it again. I'm doing a custom color conversion for her hair, but I haven't touched her hair in like 3 months. So yeah, getting some okay progress on that. So then some other crafty goodness. When I was at Amber's house, I really wanted to make some bag tags. And so I ordered some supplies online. And then Amber has a bajillion craft supplies. Amber can do every craft. Plus she has teenage daughters. So she has like boxes of beads and like nice beads, seed beads, bugle beads, the whole 9 yards. So I ordered, I'll put a picture of the kit. I actually think this kit is pretty great. Sorry for the crinkling. But it came with a bunch of these keychain bag tags. Oops, don't mind that. And then, sorry for the crinkling, these cute little ghosties. Plus some pumpkins and whatnot. And so I also ordered black letters and then a combination of what I had, what Amber had, some other beads I ordered, some charms. We made bag tags. Aren't those cute? Could be stitch markers or scissor fobs or bag tags. So then I also made one that says Summer Sun for my Sunday project. Now, do I have project bags? No. Did I finish the one I started last year? Also no. But I now have a bajillion keychain doodads and whatnot to make more. And if that wasn't enough, Amber was like, this is really fun. She's like obsessed with them. So she ordered more charms, all from Bezos, I know. So got some leaves. She ordered a ton of leaves. And then got some pumpkin ones. And then she also had, there's some hearts in here. This cute little kitty. Hold on. I don't know how to do this. Cute little kitty. Some hearts. So I have a whole doodad. Amber and I basically split them. And then I got home and was like, I really like those keychain things that were in mine. I should get some more. And it's actually cheaper to order them with some winter charms. So if you see me, it's a good chance I've got a bajillion charms on me and you can have some. So that is some of the crafting that I've been up to. Quite a bit of crafting, if we're being honest. We basically did that all weekend. We went to a very gross estate sale. I got nothing. It was really gross. It smelled like cat pee. So yeah, we did a ton of crafting. We made a billion of these little things. I made one for Amber for her house. I made one for her daughter. Amber's daughter taught me how to bedazzle using those flat back rhinestones. So I'm now a professional. That is not going to be an ADHD hyperfixation hobby that I pick up, but I appreciate learning. And then before we talk about plans, let's do my giveaways. So last week, I said I was going to pass the stash on Closely Kept number 5 by the Shaded Stitchery, and Lisa from Linguistic Stitches was picked by the random number generator. So Lisa, I will message you and get your address. That is exciting. Okay, plans. Lots of plans here. And you know I'm not like a big whip count girly, but when I took my projects to the state fair, I don't know what they'll like. I know that there were 263 entrants before mine, but a lot of my projects were pretty small, and that's one reason I didn't enter them into the the Puyallup State Fair. The Puyallup State Fair has basically a linen and an Ada category, and the subcategories are the size of the length and the width combined. And all of my projects basically would have been in the smallest category. I didn't have anything for the bigger categories, and I would have only been able to enter one thing in like one thing. So I need some larger projects. Also, my birthday is at the end of the month, August 31st. So for my birthday, I am going to start Mary Morgan's by Fox and Rabbit. Put a picture. It is giant. It's like 38,000 stitches. But I was influenced by my friend Ro, who finished hers earlier this year, and it is stunning. So I'm going to stitch that on 36 count, maybe 40 count, TBD. But I have all the DMC. It's all DMC. I already had all of it, so that was easy. Sorry. That will also bring me into Sampler September, which starts in September. So I can work on that. And then I'm going to do a SAL in September, starting September 1st. It is called A Murder of Crows SAL. And you can stitch any Corbid related project pattern you want. Can you stitch on an existing whip? Absolutely. Find something in your box of whips. You do not need to start something new. However, if you do want to start something new, I will gladly encourage you with some ideas. There are a ton of great crow related patterns coming out at Marketplace this week. Diana Bloom just released one, or did a progress picture today. 2 different people whose names start with K sent it to me today, like at the exact same time. I was like, am I seeing double? Anyway, there's some really great patterns out there. I'm going to stitch Tanner's Trinkets by Boomerang Stitches. I love it. I love crows. This is perfect. I also like shiny things. I'm basically like a crow / magpie because I really like shiny things. So I need to order the fabric for that, or order some fabric. It's called for on 32 count Petrol Lugana by Zweigart, I think. I haven't been stitching on 32 count a ton. I like stitching on that 36 count that I have, but we'll see. We'll see what's in stock, what I can find. I think I'm also going to be starting a freebie by Sprouting Lupine called Crow Quaker. Anna, Piano Mover's daughter, tipped me off to that one. If you sign up for her newsletter, you get it for free. And then I think I'm also going to start Charcuterie Board by Plum Street Samplers. Jandy tipped me off to that one, and I had it saved from last year in my like want to stitches. So both of those, that would give me 4 starts roughly for September. I feel like I need one more just to kind of round things out. I am going to Penwist on Labor Day, so maybe I'll do a Penwist start. I also wanted to start Sunnyside, although that would be a good Sunday project for December. Okay, we'll put a pin in Sunnyside for now. But I would love to stitch a lot of crow projects. Eventually I want a crow wall, and that brings me back to the stitch along. Any crow related pattern, any blackbird pattern, ravens, magpies, rooks, blue jays, scrub jays, random blackbirds on a sampler, whatever you want. If you want to stitch on a raven colored fabric, if you want to stitch with a blue jay floss, totally fine. If you want to stitch on a Lila crow, great. We are very inclusive here. We will not judge on what you want to start. Just tag me on ye old Instagram at mostlycrafty and use hashtag #amurderforcrowssal all through September. I built some templates that I will post so that once you have some progress, or if you know what you want to stitch, you can use those templates and put it on the Instagrams as well. Someone asked if I was going to release that pattern. I used some public domain works from the National Gallery of Art in the Instagram reels that I created. I don't know how to make that into a cross stitch pattern, but you know, it's out there in the public domain. Knock yourself out. I just have Canva, a free account, and I get distracted on really boring meetings. So there's that. So those are, my plans. A lot of plans for September. It's going to be a busy month. Plus I got to finish all those other things. We'll see. We'll see. I've not been getting a ton of stitching in because I've been busy with summer stuff and driving and some doom scrolling, which is not good. But yeah, besides all of those projects, other life stuff, I mean, work is work, whatever. It's fine. I haven't been reading a ton. I started Dungeon Crawler Carl number 8. I don't know the name of it. I don't know the names of any of them beyond the first book, Dungeon Crawler Carl. But I was on a flight to Chicago 2 weeks ago. My plane got stuck on the tarmac for like 2 hours. So I read a really good chunk of Dungeon Crawler Carl number 8. But I haven't really picked it up since then. I started watching Deadlock. No, it's just called Deadlock. Deadlock on Amazon Prime. It's an Australian thriller, but it's kind of funny. I'm 7 episodes in. It's pretty funny, I guess. Very dry sense of humor. And then I've been listening to the new Gracie Abrams album. Amber's daughter turned me on to it, and it is, of course, terrific. Gracie Abrams is great. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. Not really watching anything else. After another week or two, when there's like 4 episodes of Ted Lasso, I'll sign up for Apple TV so I can watch Ted Lasso and some other shows on Apple. But until then, I'm going to be using the streaming services I do have. So in conclusion, 1 finish, 1 start, lots of beads, but not a lot of progress. Lots of potential starts for the A Murder for Crows sale. And Liza, I will message you about the giveaway. Besides that, I think that's all of it. Thanks for tuning in. I know there's a lot of floss tubes happening and a lot of, distractions over the summer, but I appreciate your time and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.